Hello everyone, I am Kiran Joshi. Hope you all are doing good. This is the second video of Class 8 History chapter Weavers, Iron Smelters and Factory Owners. This video will explain about the Indian iron and steel metallurgy. To understand how developed the Indian iron and steel work was, let's look at the story of Tipu Sultan and his swords. The sword of Tipu Sultan was very special. It had a very hard and sharp edge. It was because his sword was made of special type of high carbon steel that was called wood steel. The sword's sharp edge had a flowing water pattern came from very small carbon crystals embedded in the iron. We came to know about the technology by which wood steel was made from the account of Francis Buchanan, who toured through Mysore in 1800. He wrote in his account that there were hundreds of smelting furnaces in Mysore. Children, smelting is the process of obtaining a metal from rock by heating it to a very high temperature. So in these furnaces, iron was mixed with charcoal and put inside small clay pots. Then the smelters, by carefully controlling the temperature, produced ingots. Ingots means solid pieces of metal. So they produced ingots to make sword. This craft was popular not only in India but in West and Central Asia also. Many European scientists were attracted by the wood steel. For example, Michael Faraday, the famous scientist, studied the properties of Indian woods for 4 years. But children, sadly, this widely popular wood steel making process completely disappeared by the mid 19th century. This was after the conquest of India and when the imports of iron and steel from England displaced the iron and steel produced by craft people in India. Children, in India, iron smelting was quite common till the end of 19th century, especially in Bihar and central India where every district had smelters. These smelters used locally available ore to produce iron. This iron was mostly used to make tools and implements of daily use. The furnaces that these smelters used were mostly built of clay and sun dried bricks. The task of smelting was done by men, and women used the bellows to pump air so that the charcoal could burn constantly. But in the late 19th century, this craft of iron smelting began to decline. Furnaces were not being used and iron production declined. It was due to many reasons. So, one reason was the new forest laws that prevented people from entering the reserved forest. Due to which iron smelters couldn't find wood for charcoal and iron ore. Sometimes they entered the forest secretly to collect wood, but they could not sustain their occupation of iron smelting in this way. Therefore, many iron smelters began to search for other means of livelihood. And in some areas, the colonial government permitted access to the forests to these iron smelters, but then they had to pay a very high tax to the forest department for every furnace. This reduced their earnings. Second reason was the import of iron and steel from Britain, due to which the demand of iron produced by local smelters declined. Because the ironsmiths in India began using the imported iron to make utensils and tools and implements. Now let's move our focus towards the establishment of iron and steel factories in India in the modern world. Jamshedji Tata, whose image you can see here, wanted to build a modern and big iron steel plant in India. So, in 1904, his eldest son Dorabji Tata, along with an American geologist Charles Weld, traveled for many months in Chhattisgarh in search of iron ore deposits. Then one day in a small village, they found a group of men and women. They were called Agariyas, carrying basket loads of iron ore. Dorabji and Weld came to know from the Agariyas about the hills where they had found the iron ore. Those were Rajhara Hills that had one of the finest iron ore in the world. Still, the place was not suitable to establish a factory there. It was because that area was dry and a necessary requirement to run a factory means water was not available there. Though later the iron ore from here was supplied to Bhilai steel plant. But Tatas had to continue their search. After a few years, a very vast area of forest was cleared on the banks of river Subarnarekha, and a factory named Tata Iron and Steel Company along with an industrial township called Jamshedpur was set up. At this place, water was close to the iron ore deposits. The Tata Iron and Steel Company, in short it is called TISCO, started producing steel in the year 1912. When TISCO was set up, it was an opportune time that helped TISCO to grow. See children, you have learnt that during the late 19th century, steel was imported from Britain. It was that time when the railways were being expanded. That was the time of expansion of railways in India. This expansion gave a large market to the rail producers in Britain because it was considered that good quality steel could not be produced in India. But the time when TISCO was set up, it was a different situation. The First World War broke out in 1914. Therefore, the steel produced in Britain was used to meet the demands of war in Europe. The import of steel from England to India declined, and so the Indian railways had to turn to TISCO for the supply of rails. TISCO even produced shells and carriage wheels for the war. The dependency of colonial government for steel supply on TISCO can be understood through this fact that by 1919, 90% of the steel purchased by the colonial government was produced by TISCO. Later, TISCO became the biggest steel industry during the English rule. As a conclusion, we can say that cotton textiles and iron and steel industry expanded only when British imports in India declined and the demand for industrial goods of India increased during the First World War. Later, as the national movement gained momentum and the people belonging to industrial class became stronger, demand for government protection for Indian industry increased. As the British government wanted to continue its control over India, it conceded many of these demands. So children, that's all for the chapter. Now there are some questions for you. So the first question is, why was Tipu Sultan's sword so special? Second question, wood's steel making process was completely lost by the mid 19th century. Give reasons. Third question, by the late 19th century, the craft of iron smelting began to decline. Why was this so? Fourth question, write a short note on Tata Iron and Steel Company, TISCO. Children, if you found this video helpful and wish to watch more of such content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Also, if you have any queries or any comments, please post them in the comment section below. Thank you.